The Walking Dead was once a TV giant. For a while, it was the biggest show on cable, with millions of people watching every Sunday night. It had all the right parts: a great idea, a huge world, and characters you really cared about. And at its best, it was a worldwide hit with a fan base as strong as Game of Thrones. But this success did not last. The show's popularity fell, and by the end, it was a ghost of its former self. Many of its main actors were gone, especially Rick and Glenn, and the excitement was a distant memory. Now, the ending was met with a sigh of relief from some and a shrug from many. So, what went wrong? Let's look at the beginning, the end, and everything in between for The Walking Dead. It all started in 2010. While zombie movies were common, a long-running zombie show was a brand new idea made by Frank Darabont, the director of The Shawshank Redemption. He was hired to turn the popular comic book series by Robert Kirkman into a show. The first season, a short 6-episode run, was a complete masterpiece. It wasn't just about gore. It was a deep look into the character of Rick Grimes, waking up from a coma into a world he did not know. The first episode, with its powerful images of an empty hospital and a horse into a ruined Atlanta, set a new bar for television. Critics loved it and viewers tuned in, promising a new kind of storytelling. Now, running into season 2, though slower, was a masterclass in building characters. Set mostly on Herschel's farm, it forced the group to deal with who they were as people. We saw the tough search for Sophia, the sad downfall of Shane, and the big fight between Rick and his best friend. Now, this season was about the pain of the new world, not just the physical danger. The show took its time, which made us feel more connected to the characters. The shocking barn scene where the group had to face the scary truth about the walkers really put the show into its most powerful moments. By seasons 3 and 4, the show was at its peak. Prison became the group's safe place, but it also brought in their first real human threat, the governor. He was not just a monster, but more of a smart, scary leaver driven by fear and power. The fight between Rick's group and Woodbury gave the show a clear goal and a strong bad guy. The show became known for its shocking deaths, like those of Lori, T-Dog, and the heartbreaking loss of Herschel. These events showed the audience that nobody is safe, creating real suspense and raising the stakes with every episode. The show was a cultural phenomenon, and everyone was talking about it. Now, the show's best period, both for critics and viewers, was likely from the second half of season 4 through season 5. The group split up after the prison fell was on its own. This made each character stand out, creating new friendships and testing old ones. The trip to Terminus and the discovery of its people-eating residents was a thrilling, suspenseful story that ended with one of the best action scenes in the whole show. Carol's one attack on Terminus absolutely blowing up the place and setting off bombs everywhere. Now, after that crazy incident, the season's high point came with the group finding Alexandria, a safe community based in West Virginia. Now, although it was a safe community, they faced hard threats like a whole walker swarm and, as we all know it, the Saviors. Now, but it was a perfect setup for the future, and viewers were hooked on more than ever. Now, the start of the show's decline came with its next main villain. The arrival of Negan was one of the most awaited moments in TV history. The buildup was amazing. For a whole season, the Saviors were a shadow, a threat that hung over every choice the characters made. The tension was strong, and the viewers knew a fight with this new scary villain was coming. Now, the season 6 finale, Last Day on Earth, is still one of the most watched episodes ever. It ended with Negan's brutal game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, as he got to kill a character with his own baseball bat, Lucille. The screen went black just as the bat came down, and the viewers had to wait months to find out who was killed. Now, this was a huge mistake. While the cliffhanger was meant to build excitement, it was really seen by many as a cheap trick. The audience who had been with these characters for years felt lied to. The mystery wasn't fun. It was really just annoying. It really showed that the creators cared about shocking people than respecting the feelings of their viewers. When season 7 premiere finally aired, it showed a scene so brutal and long that many viewers felt it was just too much. The deaths of Abraham and Glenn. Now, that was 2 important characters gone down the drain, and the episode felt really painful. Later in the episode, it focused on Rick's mental torture, and it was just too much for fans. The show had crossed its line, and the feelings changed from excitement to exhaustion. Many viewers, upset by the cheap cliffhanger and the extreme violence, simply stopped watching. The ratings, while still high, became a steady and unstoppable downfall. The show's core audience was split, and the time of The Walking Dead being a show everyone watched was over. Now, Now, the seasons that followed only made the problems worse. The Negan story, which was a thrilling part of the comics, was stretched out far too long on the screen. The show's pace became a big issue. Entire episodes were spent on small stories, and the war against the Saviors, which should have been an exciting climax, felt slow and boring. The once tight storytelling was replaced by a predictable cycle of close calls and drawn-out fights. The show had lost forward motion. The biggest blow to the show was the departure of the main characters, Carl Grimes. Now, he was the heart of the original story and Rick's son. Now, with him being bit by a walker and dying off slowly, this really broke fans' hearts and made them stop watching the show. Now, this choice by the producers was one major change from the comics, and it was widely criticized. Carl was meant to be the future of the new world, and his death left a big hole in the show's long-term plan. But the show's final death knell came in season 9 with the departure of its hero, Rick Grimes. Now, the actor of Rick Grimes is Andrew Lincoln, and the main reason he left was to spend more time with his family. Now, I can't blame him. For a guy being the face of a show for about 8 seasons is definitely a lot of work. Now, the show tried to write him out in a mysterious way, having him rescued by a helicopter with the promise of future movies to explain what happened. But for many viewers, the story of The Walking Dead ended the moment Rick was gone. The show had lost its leaders, its main characters, and its very foundation that it was built on. With Rick gone, the show tried to start over, as it jumped forward in time, and it also brought in new characters and a new showrunner, Angela Kang. She took over the whole entire show and put it to her credit. The show did get a little better in the eyes of some critics with The Whisperer's stories, and with its new unique horror. It felt like a return for some of the viewers, but by this point, the damage was done, and the audience has already left, and the show's viewership kept shrinking. The once mighty show was now just another cable drama fighting for a small piece of audience it once had. Now, the final season, an extra long 24 episodes, felt more like a long goodbye than a big event. The finale itself, while bringing back a favorite character for a quick appearance, failed to give a satisfying ending for many viewers. It wasn't an ending that was hated, but it wasn't one that was celebrated either. It was an ending that just kind of happened. So, what is the legacy of The Walking Dead? Well, it's kind of a complicated one. It's a show that defined a time in television, proving that genre shows could be smart, character-driven dramas. But it's also a warning about how even the biggest shows can fall off. The creators seem to care more about the shock value and rating than good storytelling, pushing away the very fans who had held the fan base together. And the overuse of cliffhangers, the slow pacing, and the bad departure of characters. Ultimately, there is a lot of factors to why the show fell off, but there's definitely way more movies and different types of shows coming along the way. Fear the Walking Dead, The Walking Dead World Beyond, and The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live. But for what had happened in the show has already broke many of the fan bases apart. Now, if I gotta be honest, The Walking Dead has gotta be one of the greatest shows out there, and it still is today. But with the fact of many people being heartbroken and a lot of the scenes that people just cannot come back to, it really just made the show have a slow and steady downfall. Now, if you love videos like this, please subscribe and also mention to a friend, and I will see you in the next one.
Adios, amigos!